Graydon House and HarlequinAudio present The German Wife, a novel by Kelly Rimmer. Performed by Nancy Peterson and Anne-Marie Gideon. For Amy Tannenbaum Gottlieb. 1. Sophie, Huntsville, Alabama, 1950. "Wake up, Gisela," I murmured, gently shaking my daughter awake. "It's time to see Papa." After the better part of a day on a stuffy, hot bus, I was so tired my eyes were burning, my skin gritty with dried sweat from head to toe. I had one sleeping child on my lap and the other leaning into me as she sprawled across the seat. After 3 long weeks of boats and trains and buses, my long journey from Berlin to Alabama was finally at an end. My youngest daughter had always been smaller than her peers, her body round and soft, with a head of auburn hair like mine, and my husband's bright blue eyes. Over the last few months, a sudden growth spurt transformed her. She was now taller than me. The childhood softness had stretched right out of her, leaving her rail thin and lanky. Gisela stirred, then slowly pushed herself to a sitting position. Her eyes scanned along the aisle of the bus as if she were reorienting herself. Finally, cautiously, she turned to look out the window. "Mama, it really doesn't look like much." We were driving down a wide main street lined with small stores and restaurants. So far, Huntsville looked about as I'd expected it would. Neat, tidy, segregated. Mini salon, white only. Seamstress for colored. Ada's Cafe, the best pancakes in town. Whites only. When I decided to make the journey to join my husband in America, segregation was one of a million worries I consciously put off for later. Now, faced with the stark reality of it, I dreaded the discussions I'd be having with my children once we had enough rest for productive conversation. They needed to understand exactly why those signs sent ice through my veins. "Papa did tell us that this is a small town, remember?" I said gently. "There are only 15,000 people in Huntsville, and it will be very different from Berlin. But we can build a good life here, and most importantly, we'll be together again." "Not all of us," Gisela muttered. "No. Not all of us," I conceded quietly. Loss was like a shadow to me. Every now and again, I'd get distracted and I'd forget it was there. Then I'd turn around and feel the shock of it all over again. It was the same for my children, especially for Gisela. Every year of her life had been impacted by the horrors of war, or by grief and change. I couldn't dwell on that. Not now. I was about to see my husband for the first time in almost 5 years, and I was every bit as anxious as I was excited. I had second-guessed my decision to join him in the United States 1,000,000 or more times since I shepherded the children onto that first bus in Berlin, bound for the port in Hamburg, where we boarded the cross-Atlantic steamship. I looked down at my son. Felix woke when I shook his sister, but was still sitting on my lap, pale and silent. He had a head of sandy curls and his father's curious mind. Until now, they'd never been on the same continent. The first thing I noticed was that Jürgen looked different. It was almost summer and warm out, but he was wearing a light blue suit with a white shirt and a dark blue bow tie. Back home, he never wore a suit that color, and he never would have opted for a bow tie.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?